In this video, we're going to build the brand new Pro extension stop from beginning to end. It doesn't take a lot of material, all of the hardware. Links will be on the plan. The material, this is it. What about tools? We're going to use the table saw for narrow rips, table saw, and this crosscut sled that I showed you how to build. And I think you'll see this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a little bit of intricate work. All of our pieces will be cut to length, the little crosscuts with the miter saw. A big player in this is going to be the router table. We're going to actually use this with 3 different router bits, and one of these router bits we're actually going to set up twice to make the cut. So we're going to be doing 4 different setups and 3 different bits. I'm going to be ripping the rail out of this, and I'm also going to be ripping the spline. I'll be making the spline out of the same material. I'm going to rip the spline first. The full strength of the plywood coming from inside out all the way through the laminations running this way. So the way I'll cut this is I will make an 8mm rip, and then I'll take that piece and flip it and cut it down to 10mm. I'll start by grabbing a piece of fall off here and making the cut and making sure I have it just right. The spline is cut and the 3 main pieces are roughed out. Now I'm going to lay them out. Using the table saw and the crosscut sled makes projects like this very simple. If you don't have a table saw or you don't have a crosscut sled, you can do it on the miter saw. The 2 pieces of 18mm for the flip stop are roughed out. For the rail, I highly recommend taking your time and laying out where everything goes. And on the bottom, I'm holding the spline short or right up to the cursor notch. And so I want to go ahead and get this cursor notch cut before I do the rest of the stuff. The T-track itself is a simple and easy cut. I just need to set the center of the bit by adjusting the fence, and then I need to adjust the height of the bit. I want there to be 6mm between the tabletop and the underside of the cutter. Since I do so much of this, I have a 6mm strip of wood that I've marked 6mm. I saved this, and all I'll do is put it underneath there and then dial it in. One of the things that I'm doing as I set up the new T-cutter is all of my older stuff that I did with the smaller white side, the 2 bits, I'm rerunning them, or I'm running them through the larger cutter. It's nice because it goes in the exact same center spot. It makes the cut below wider, and even though I'm a little deeper, it still doesn't, you know, it's got that angle cut on it. So I'm able to just run this through. So if I ever redo or update the Smart Station, I'll be changing it over to that. And this is your opportunity. If you're set up, run those through and you'll be dialed. There's the before. The after. I've designed the plans metric, although there are dimensions showing imperial and metric. For my tooling, most of my stuff is imperial, but I'm pretending that it's metric. So this cutter here is a 3/8 cutter. I'm calling it 10mm. The shaft on this one that I was able to find is also 3/8 instead of being a 1/2 inch. So my collet is too big to cinch down on it. So I bought one of these sleeves. I've got a series of them to step up and step down. And so this will take it from the 1/2 inch collet down to the 3/8. You can see by taking the time to sort of sketch out the end, I had this drawn out, and I have this drawn out where the tape goes, and then I have the dado right here, the slot that goes there. So I know I'm set up for the right spacing and depth, but I also know I'm putting it right where it goes. Really easy to make a mistake when you have a piece with this many cuts to it that have to all work together. I made a little extra work for myself in having to set up the 10mm bit 2 times. Once I had it set up the first time for the right depth and almost the right spacing, I should have, and in the past I have, went ahead and ran the car or the body of the stop through to get that dado. It's 18mm to center, whereas the rail is 16, but it would have just been bumping it just that little bit, and then I could have run it and not have to take the bit in and out or even adjust the height. Also, if you've got the total station and you've already built your stops, and then you're going to update to the wider T-track with the wider cutter, then your spline will be a little bit skinny. It'll fit and it'll work, but it'll have a little bit of rock in it. So what I've done with all of mine, except this one, because I wanted to show you, is I'll take it all apart. So that means undoing the bolt, taking the stop itself off, and then taking all the metal off. And then the spline right here, I took a pull saw and I just cut it off and made sure that it was nice and flush. Even sanded it a little bit on the others, because I had 3 others, so I had 4 in total. And then, while it's set up to run the new one, and again, I would go ahead and make a couple of these, then I can go ahead and run this one through, and it's ready then to be reassembled. Or I could just dispose of this one, make extras of these, and then take the parts off, because they'll fit perfectly. I've drilled all the holes. The hole for the stop screw or the adjustment screw, this one right here, I went ahead and put it on both sides, because now that makes it completely left or right. So I could assemble this with the flag on this side and the screw on this side, and then it would work to the left side of the saw. So I think what I'll do on these long edges, I could just run the sander on this, but I'm going to go ahead and the router has in it that 3/8 upcut spiral, a straight bit. So I'm going to go ahead and use a couple of playing cards and use it as my joiner since it's already set up. The spline that I cut and the T-track that I cut are the exact same size, and that's nice because it makes sure that the stop will stay nice and square. But I'm taking it and sort of wearing it in and then sanding it a little bit too. So I'm keeping the snug fit, but I also want it to slide, and I may put some spray on it too. Get the carriage bolt snug down tight with this locking nut. The next locking nut is going to go back in this direction, so I'm going to put it on in reverse. These fast cap 1-inch wood washers, see, I like them because they stay put down on the bottom, at least on this bottom one. The top one, this is not one of those, it's a standard 1/4-inch wide body washer because I do want this one to float easily. You could also take two of these, take one, put it on the bottom, and then attach it with some epoxy or maybe super glue or something that'll go metal to metal. Just so, again, if you're sliding it into the T-track, you know, it's hooked onto there. If you're not careful, you might get it on top, and I like it just stuck on the bottom so I know that head and the washer go in as a single unit. Also, I'm not using the knobs anymore, so stopping it from spinning is no longer an issue because I'm using these cam clamps. See, that guy isn't going to move, it isn't going to twist, and it isn't going to slide. So when I'm set up for repetitive, accurate cuts, that's really solid to go into. Okay, we are pre-assembled. Obviously, there'll be some adjustment to do in this when I finalize it, and I still have to put on the rule, the sticky tape. It is 7:30, and I'm late for dinner, so I'll finish this up tomorrow. To install the tape measure, this one's pretty simple. I'm not worried about calibration or anything. That'll be done in fine-tuning the stop. I want to start it at 50, and I'm just going to stick it down in this shallow dado. I'm going to cut it a little short of the end. I don't need it hanging off, about 2,700. So this is set up using this tape measure, so it's both imperial and metric. Fall off from the tape, I'll roll up and save. There'll be plenty of other tools to use it on later. This is the double stick tape, speed tape from Fast Cap. It comes with these rules when you order them. The final and most critical step, but very easy to do, is calibrating the stop. The Pro Extension, the cursor is this edge of the notch. Wherever I put that on the existing tape, that's the dimension that I'm going to get because I'm going to take the cursor of the stop itself and just line it up. I don't even need to look at it, just feel it with my finger, lock it down, and now it's time to calibrate, which is moving the stop in or out depending on what we need. So I am going to pick a dimension. It doesn't really matter what it is. I got some scrap here. Total luck. I'm going to make another cut just to double check. We're going to go to 500. It's right on. That was total luck. The adjustment is quite simple though. I've shown you in other videos. We just simply are going to move this flag stop one direction or the other, depending on if it's too short or too long, obviously. Just simply loosening the two nuts, not the third one, that locks this carriage bolt to the flag stop. But these two, I would loosen and move it whichever direction it needs to go and retighten it, and then do another test cut. And then the final step is this screw here is to keep this square. If I didn't have that and I moved it out, this could deflect. So that keeps it from deflecting. When you're doing this, lock this stuff down and push it. Don't be gentle with it. You want it to be solid so that when you're in the field working and you're doing production, you can set that on what you need, slam it in there, and make the cut. With the Pro Extension, we now have the ability to cut much longer than the short stop. So I want to check it on that end as well. Since I put this tape down at 50 inches, I'm going to move down and put the cursor on 50. Again, all we're doing is lining up the numbers, whatever you decide to go with. If you make yours shorter or longer, you can have your cursor on 40, for example, if you want to have a little more overlap. In my case, I found 50 worked well. So I'll line this up at 50, and now this tape measure picks up where this one drops off, and we go to this cursor. Do metric 1500. Okay, that's right on. So I double checked it on 3 different dimensions. Obviously, metric and imperial, they're not going to be off because that's fixed with the tape measure. See, set with either one, go back and forth, it doesn't matter. With the shorter extensions on the Smart Station, I can go all the way out to 104 or 2,640 millimeters. Also, don't be afraid to just make this the length that you need. All the details are worked out. This was the final version that I came up with, that then I took it to finish the plans with. And you know, this size, or maybe a slightly longer, wouldn't be bad either. Maybe you don't need to go out to 8.5 feet, but just having another 18 inches or 2 feet might be all that you need. So again, just cut it shorter. As long as this stuff is all detailed out like this and this cursor is set up, it's going to work at whatever length you want to make it. All done. The finalized plans are ready for you to click on the link below, ready for you to purchase and download instantaneously and build yourself the ProStop. It really will help expand the use of your Smart Station. And with those plans, you can build it exactly the way I show you here, which is a right-hand long one to give you over 8 feet of repetitive cuts. But you can use that same set of plans to build yourself a shorter one if you just need a couple of more feet. And also just reverse it if you want to build it to the left, or if you want to have 2 so you've got a right and a left. It's all there in this one set of plans. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. And also be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. I mean, there might be some other videos coming about tools and things that might interest you. Mahalo.